What's going on, everybody? We're back, episode 42 of the download queue. It's November 3rd, 2024. Christmas is rapidly approaching. I can't be more excited. As always, joined by the good bearded friend, Kyle the Fish. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Can't shave anymore.
Can't
It's
you? Oh,
November.
yeah, it's the time.
Forgot about that. I wish I did a pre-shave now. Not doing good. How are you?
We're all right. Just talking before this. My house is falling apart on me, but we're back. It severely put me behind on games and things we're supposed to be talking about today, so thank God you're here, because I am so far behind on what I should be being kept up on.
Well, what do you mean?
Dragon Age, the Call of
Oh,
Duty,
okay.
just in general.
Got it. Yeah. That makes sense. But
Life,
life.
life happens. This week I'm catching up. I got until the next thing blows up, but
I just got him a chop.
much. Oh, how is that?
I got a Psyduck. It's not gonna adjust.
It's bright.
It's really bright. Got a little Psyduck, a Meowth, Slowbro, and I'm a champ. Pokemon trading card game. It's in your pocket now.
Do we like that? Is it good? Is it hitting the right
Uh,
buttons?
I mean, I'm not a Pokemon person, but I like opening a pack, and it's fun for now. It's just like Marvel Snap. It was fun, and then I just fell off. I'm just not into those type of games long term, but it is satisfying to get a pack a day and see what you pull. I got some cool little cards there, so we'll see how long I keep playing it.
See that? I'm still so deep into Marvel Snap, and it's the first like mobile game I have been deep into. And I looked at the Pokemon thing, I was like, I can't. Like physically and mentally, I don't have the mental capacity to put another time sync on my phone.
Yeah, no, it's something just to open up, pop a pack open. Like it, literally, as we went, like 5 minutes before we went live, it put my new pack pop for the day. So I was like, oh well, I'm gonna open it right now. But no, nothing good in that pack. It's cool. But that's it.
There you go.
Not a
It's something.
yeah.
I honestly forgot it was coming out until girlfriend brought it up, and I was like, "What Pokemon thing are you talking about?" And then like the next day, kind of funny, did their like upcoming games talking about it. I was like, "Oh, this thing, yes."
Yes. Yeah, I do appreciate I have an iPhone, so Apple you can like pre-order games and when they go live they'll just pop up and be like, "Hey, your game's now you can play it and it's already downloaded." I do like that. It's how I there's a couple games that I've been like, "Oh yeah, I'll play this now. That's fun." Like Destiny Rising. Got into that. That's live.
Is how
Closed
worth it?
closed alpha. It is it's fine. It's fine. It has the mobile monetization type stuff in it to buy, the 5-star characters to use, and that's cool. It's just it's all right.
Well, what we were
It's definitely
expecting.
not for. I don't think it's for people who have played Destiny outside of like the music. It's like, this is nostalgic because they're using more. It sounds more closer to Destiny 1 or just the tower music. And there is a nostalgia in it for me with that. But outside of that, I'm like, can't imagine me actually playing this beyond just getting into alpha and wanting to try it out. So,
The mobile's just not for everything. I mentioned it last week, or when that story was announced, that even like Apex Legends kind of gave up on the whole mobile thing, which for like a major battle royale to throw in their towel on that, like it's tricky to navigate because it's a certain group of people that the way things are in console don't match up with what they want, or the way upgrades and just overall progression doesn't match up with what they're used to. Like it's got to be a perfect kind of in the middle sweet spot for them to be attached.
yeah, it definitely feels like I said, it's not for, they're not trying to grab the Destiny players, you know. And it was funny seeing the chat go off in the game. They have the in world chat that's just always on if you want it. And people are like arguing over the fact that it's not going to be on console as of right now. Uh, they're losing money and this would make so much money. This should be Destiny 3. It's like this is nothing. Like what do you, it just was really entertaining. It's just a different type of people, I think. But yeah, I'm okay with it because it's NetEase developing it, like we talked about. It's not Bungie. It's putting resources aside to make this mobile game, and that's okay, right? If they were doing this instead of making Destiny, right? If they were doing this, I'd be a little different, but whatever. Go get your cash from NetEase. They're paying you, and go get those money from the whales. Sure.
Yeah, it's not taking away resources from other things. That and Marathon now, since that's been popping up more recently, I've seen too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's their main focus. Yeah, so it's all right. Clunky audio, but yeah, it's an alpha, so it's hard to tell. But it's weird seeing like some of the characters that do overlap, like the Drifter's in it, where it's not the Drifter, but he's called his like names in there, Wei Ling or something, and then it says the man with no name, but his name's right
But
above
he has a
that.
name.
It's like that's his name. Saw that from Paul Tassi and in the game, but it's just interesting at the end of the day.
Perfect. I love that. It's a good encapsulation of how gaming is right now.
Yeah.
I haven't started anything new like that or anything to promote or talk about, but I did want to give a quick shout out this weekend, yesterday in particular. I dove into the esports scene for a little bit. Uh Yesterday was the world finals of League of Legends. Big old nerd stuff. And it was
Yeah.
wild to watch. I tweeted about it. I have no idea what happened during half of this because it's so extremely far out of my knowledge base. But it's got like the weird thing where you're watching, like something cool's happening. Like the arena picks up, like the hype shoutcasters that are talking over it, like start freaking out. It's like a weird feeling that if sports got into like this, I would be all in. Like it gets you going. It's like listening to Dan Campbell talk about League of Legends essentially because they're all just yelling and screaming and jumping over each other. Don't have any clue what's happening, but it's cool. Linkin Park was there.
That's
Got to see
funny.
Linkin Park do the one song, the "Heavy as the Crown." They were there for opening ceremony.
I did watch that. I saw that
Yeah,
pop on the socials. I was like, oh, that's cool that they're really doing the rounds with this new album.
yeah. I said today I'm putting all money in that they will be at Game Awards this year as like the musical guest because we don't have
Huh?
Imagine Dragons this year. They're always
Why not?
there. Do they have a song? Do they have a game song?
No, they don't.
Yeah. Like, they're there for Hurricane. They were there for the Mario thing. They were there like way back when. They had Hosier last year for the God of War thing. So I
Yes,
just
that
have
was
like
cool.
someone big. I was like Lincoln Park. I'm putting money on.
That depending on where they're at on tour, that does kind of line up. Uh, why not? That'd be cool. That's a bummer if they do perform because guess who's not going? Me.
Those ticket prices
Not
are
paying
nuts.
$200 a ticket.
what
Oh my! And
What
then
was it
you have
last year?
the year I went. I don't know what it was last year. I didn't look, but the year I went, it was $75 a ticket. So that was
What?
nice. That was nice enough to like whatever, and now it's 200 and bummer.
That's
I
nuts.
mean, I get it. It is what it is. Uh, better have some cool show stuff, for that price.
That's wild. That's literally like triple. That's wild.
Yeah,
Jeff Keeley.
yeah. I can't blame them though. Get that money.
It's a
It costs a lot.
it's a production, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. What we do. We'll probably do a watch party or something. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm down. I'm here. Yeah,
True.
League of Legends, cool stuff. Shout out to T1. I believe this was like their sixth or seventh victory because they're the top team essentially. And boy Faker, that most people have heard of at least. This was his fifth win and second time back to back wins. So hey, your name you get a $500 skin in the game for a reason, I guess. Don't even use skins in it yourself, but
That's crazy.
that's crazy. The other crazy thing this week, back from the dead for the last time to talk about Kyle. Our dear, sweet, sweet summer child, Concord, back in the news. Oh,
Not the last
oh,
time we'll talk about it. they have a secret level
They have a
episode coming
secret
out
level
in
episode.
November or December 10th. So we will
Watch
talk
them
about it
take
one
that
more
out
time.
of it. Like the game's gone.
That
The episode's gone too.
I'm honestly surprised. I mean, we might see them just release all those cinematics, right? Like they have a whole story plan. They said for a year. So, but yeah. Anyways,
It's weird. It said back from the dead for a couple minutes before it was officially back underground. Officially announced from Herman Holst that Firewalk Studios altogether will be closing alongside a mobile developer, Neon Koi, which will affect about 210 jobs. So add that up in the tally list for the year. And God, this sucks. When we talked about it before, we both kind of had some sort of hope that it would come back as some former version of itself to have another chance at life, especially for a new studio. I was praising them, being like, "Oh, hey, they're giving this new team another shot to like try and land this." Nah, it's just taken out back, buried in the scrap heap. Years and millions of dollars of work just gone.
yeah, it's crazy, right? That I mean, this is like one of the biggest failures in gaming in a while, but also just one of the biggest ever, right? I mean, 200 million plus dollars that they're just losing on this. The time and effort they put into this, trying to do something different with a multiplayer game. I applaud them for that. Like we both hopped into the beta and we enjoyed it. It was fun, but it just still was lacking something. And yeah, this is the outcome, unfortunately, of a bad business decision to greenlight something and let it go this far along and take this long. I mean, hey, maybe you shouldn't have put so much money into these cinematics, even though they look phenomenal. But it probably, I would imagine, lengthened development. You prioritize certain things, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's leadership that is at fault for getting something like this so far along, and then less than 2 weeks after its official release, it's shut down. Like there's something beyond just it didn't hit. There's good intentions were there. It was fun, but yeah, not surprised that the studio is closed, but it's still like a bummer, and that sucks for that studio who was not built for this, but like this was their child. They really believed in it. It sounds like just the wrong time, right? A game like this and coming out when it did as well. I thought their release structure of having like the beta hands on and then that was good, but right before fall when Call of Duty's coming out, like even if it had some numbers, it wasn't gonna sustain anything long term in my opinion. So sucks for all the developers that are now jobless because of this.
Yeah, and like I said back then, it was a weird lead up in general to launch because they had a couple trailers for it. They did the special controller for it, but there wasn't like really a big marketing push behind it. And I said that they easily could have gone the Overwatch route, do character specific trailers, get people interested in the characters beforehand, get them interested in what the world is and what game they'll actually be getting into. But it was very much like, hey, here's a PlayStation showcase. We're showing this thing to PlayStation only people, PlayStation fans, which I get that's like it's an exclusive. You want those eyes on it, but get a wider reach on it so people maybe come in on PC, come in and later they get a PlayStation. Like there's so many parts of it I feel was set up for failure, and I'm honestly shocked they closed the studio over it. Like to acquire them when they're already started on this project. Yeah, it didn't land, but that doesn't mean those people don't have other ideas or they had other projects they wanted to do or there's other threads of ideas there. Like to just close them all out, kick them to the curb, like that's kind of shitty on my part.
Yeah, I don't know when this is what the studio was going to be focusing on for the foreseeable future, right? It's a live service game, and now it's gone. At least they tried to find something, but I'm not. It sucks to say I'm not surprised that this is an outcome.
It's just not the best one we wanted. The one we
No,
wanted to
not at
see.
all. Yeah, but I guess like it would have been hard to monetize it. It was designed not to have those systems in play, right? And then you have to go in and that's like remaking it, or at least, retooling a good chunk of the game to have it be monetized. It's not something they wanted to do to begin with. Free to play could have been cool. It could have been cool to see PlayStation give it some time. But I mean, those numbers were abysmal. Unfortunately, it was less than 5,000 on opening weekend on at least on Steam or something like that. It was lower. So
Yeah, total sales estimated at under 25,000 between PC and PlayStation. All time peak on Steam at 697.
oof, oof. Yeah, I do wonder if it was put into PlayStation Plus day and date, if that could have helped. But again, like how much time do you give something that is clearly just not hitting in the way it needs to make money? So, and to justify all the resources and the staffing and all that. But it's just again another bad decision, or another greenlit thing that unfortunately is resulting in a studio closing.
I wonder if above my pay grade as well of knowledge, but I wonder if the reason for the closure entirely, like if there's like tax reasons behind that, like hey, this project was a failure, recoup money by just getting rid of the studio. I could see that being a thing too, which they obviously aren't going to say out loud, but it's a business, especially like I said, a couple hundred millions of dollars into this that are just washed away now.
Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising if they get some tax write-offs for something like that failing. We see Warner Brothers do that on the movie side of things, just shelve stuff and make money off of it. Yeah, I don't have any idea if that would even be true or not, but hopefully in the coming weeks, months, years, we do find out a little more.
Yeah, it's a month till the Secret Levels episode.
Which is
Go ahead.
which is so funny that and a bummer that they're gonna have this episode about Concord come out, and then it's what is it though? Like, what's Concord? We have all these gaming. If someone watched that without even realizing Concord came and went, because I don't think it'd be hard to miss it, unfortunately. I think they're going to be really confused if there's an episode for this game that is nowhere to be found anywhere. Except you could buy some merch still on PlayStation, I think, because they have so much merch, I bet.
Merch, yeah, the controller's still up too, I think.
Yeah.
It's such a weird period of time. Like, imagine getting into games after the fact and like hearing about this thing and like I said, watching the episode on Secret Levels, like, and return to it and be like, oh, this was available for 2 weeks. Sorry. Like it's a weird, like, you don't get that with movies. You don't get that with music. Like, this is such a video game ish thing.
Yeah.
I want to find a copy. I want to have a physical just to say I do, just to be a part of history.
It's funny.
It's like the Atari. It's like the ET Atari game of our generation, essentially.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely on the same level.
It's wild, wild, wild. Best
Yeah.
wishes to that team though. Like that's 210 people between both teams that are in the lineup but looking for jobs, which is
Yeah,
this industry.
PlayStation closing down more studios.
Where's the PlayStation name, Jeff? Not getting into that.
Nah, that's for our state of the industry. Oh, that's actually that's for another episode later in the year.
It's on the docket.
Yeah. But yeah, where is it, Jeff? Come on.
I did finish Call of Duty this week though. Give final thoughts because we went in depth last week. You got a review on YouTube posted. Good, go check it out. Califish30 on YouTube.
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Do it. What?
Do it.
It's Call of Duty. I sat down yesterday. I still only finished the first 3 levels. I sat down yesterday when I was watching the League Worlds thing. Um, Sat down for like 5 hours, hammered out the rest of the campaign in one sitting.
Mm.
I'm so mixed on it. I appreciate the diversity of levels, like we were talking about last week, the heist thing, the open world one you were talking about, the spooky one, quote unquote. I appreciate them try new things, but not a lot of them really hit and stuck with me like I would want them to. Felt like more good distractions from the overall just basic gunplay you would be expecting. But on their own, for one level at a time, it was a very okay experience. The open world one, um, I was playing on hardened, not veteran, because I'm not putting myself through that stress. But I was doing hardened. Very unforgiving for me on save points and how much you have to backtrack for stuff, and
Hmm.
redoing different paths over and over got to me. Um, the spooky one,
Yes, emergence.
emerge. Thank you. Um, I had some weird issues with that. I'll say the mannequins.
Yes,
They're doing things, and again on hardened. I don't know what you were playing on, but on hardened, they were doing
normal.
things too fast for me to accomplish objectives, and I essentially got myself soft locked at one point and had to restart to a previous checkpoint to like kind of reset the position of everything, which that really kind of threw me off.
Huh.
And then the last
Y-
mission of the campaign in general was very weird. It took the idea of not otherworldly, but the conspiracy slash we're throwing in some mystical elements in there slash trust us with what we're doing, you're gonna like it, and it's not gonna fully go in depth in what we're trying to tell. There's a lot of jumping back and forth between different areas, and it just was really off. It felt like it was like a mission for something like I don't even know, a magical shooter, that Avium game that came out last year, beginning of this year from EA. Like it felt like it should have been in that because there were so many different things going on and trying to keep track of everyone and what was happening and why am I here now and oh, the spooky stuff's back. The campaign was just a trip. And it started off so strong. Like it's got the Call of Duty set pieces, it's got the massive moments, it's got the hey, you're doing cool action movie shit nonstop. And it's like we're doing new things, we're trying new things, which again I appreciate. I just a little more fleshed out next time if they go along with it. A little more second time's a charm maybe on it, I guess. I think
Which
I
is
had
funny.
my review I campaign I put I had a 7 out of 10 with multiplayer was an 8 if I remember.
Mhm. That's funny because like what you are criticizing are like highlights for me. Uh, and I played not on the lowest, but the normal difficulty, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, uh, that probably I would. Yeah, I used to get so annoyed in Call of Duty campaigns when you get stuck. You just keep dying. You know, a tank bursts through the wall and then you're dead, and you're like, all right, or you know, you just can't get up the alleyway or whatever. Trying to think of. Uh, so yeah, that definitely would hinder my experience for sure. But yeah, I didn't have any issues with what you're having issues with, which is just opinion, right?
Which
I thought
that'll
those
be
were
a thing for this
somewhat
episode.
the yeah. Oh, apparently. No, I kind of got that from you. Anyways, that's we're skipping ahead now. Um, but yeah, so yeah, those are highlights for me. I do understand like the last mission specifically. It's two missions with like three parts each. I think if I'm correct. And you jump back and forth between, you know, going in someone's head, what's happening, and then what's happening outside in the real world, so to speak. And that I get that you either works for you or doesn't. For me, it worked. Um, I really enjoyed the inside the head stuff of trying to. I mean, I think we go loose spoilers here. You know, having someone who has been mind controlled essentially, and they have their true self is blocked out
Hmm.
and they're trying to fight through that. Like the way they were able to visualize that, same with emergence, right? The stuff that's happening inside your head, the way they justified having certain gameplay elements jump in, and then how they achieved, you know, visualizing that effect. I thought that's what put it over for me. That's what made it really interesting to me. Of like, it works to me for me. I thought I liked how they did that. I liked how they showed kind of found a way to show the effects of being mind controlled and how to break through that in they found into gameplay. I thought they did well with that. Again, it just worked for me.
It for Emergent specifically, I like that it works in a way that it still kind of leaves everything open ended when it's all said and done. Like I
Yeah.
still after finishing, I'm questioning like, so were you testing or like was this all just because of the situation you were in or like is there actual history to that? Which like I hope they dive into further because like that stuff I'm into. That's the parts I'm interested in. It's just the gameplay mechanics of it were off for me. And that last mission, yeah, that's the one where it was like, we're gonna introduce this thing, and it's one line of dialogue where it's like, you're in a thing. I think it's just called separation or something. And, like that's their kind of explanation of like what's going on, and you just kind of got to go with it and trust the process as you go. I'm like, oh, okay, this is felt like an afterthought, I guess, to me.
Oh wow, that's funny. Yeah, no, that was like, yeah, for me it worked, and it's a highlight. I think I felt like they achieved what they were aiming to do with that mission specifically, and I thought it was fun having the different elements, especially like having the not roguelike, but kind of roguelike moments where there's a timer and you just have to keep moving forward and you kind of get something, then you go back, and then every time you die, you just reset it and you keep going. I like enjoyed that. I thought that was unique and thing, but I wouldn't say that was like amazing or phenomenal. But like the way it works within the mission, I thought was successful.
Mhm. There's some things too. In Emergence, you get a traversal tool. Again, without spoilers. That like I really enjoyed that. I wish there was more of that between levels, or if there were levels more built around that and the verticality you get off of it and being able to kind of tackle things differently. That I appreciated. Um, Again, the heist, the casino heist, probably my favorite one of the group. I took that super stealthily at the beginning. You're in the sewers, kind of did all that without being caught. Like that felt real cool. The bank heist job, like that was awesome. That's my highlight of it total. And
Yeah.
maybe too, it could just be like I said. I besides the first three levels, I from the open world on sat this in one sitting, which probably has an effect on how I viewed it because I was ready for a break and be done with it by
Mm,
then. But it's to each their own. Again, campaign's kind of
yeah.
a afterthought for most Call of Duty people. Most people listening to this or even in the Call of Duty aren't gonna care because it's not multiplayer zombies,
Yeah.
which
Which is
sucks.
fine. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Multiplayer still having a
I
blast.
I do think like what they said in Emergence, what you kind of hinted at, and especially at the end, there's when the bad of the game kind of talks to your character, and again it references what happened in Emergence, and I'm like, what is that though? Why am I special? Like you didn't explore that. I expected that to be a little more. So I wonder where they go with that because that's where it kind of loses me. You're telling me the way I feel like what they're hinting at is like your character is a super soldier in some
Yeah,
regard, you're special, and it's like, oh no. But then when Emergence ends and it's like, no, that was in your head. I loved it. I was like, hell yeah, that's such a fun, unique way to have you be under these. You're hallucinating. I keep saying it wrong. You're hallucinating, and I liked how they achieved that in that gameplay. I thought that was fun. But wait, you're actually different and special. What do you mean? No,
yeah. Another
this.
character
I
references it later on, and you're like, oh, so is that actually like, is there actually more here?
Yeah, like that's where I'd be like, okay, that's odd. That's where you could lose me. But I get what they were doing to a degree. But we'll see with the next one, right? I mean, that's a straight up cliffhanger.
Which they even the cliffhanger. Do you know who that was?
No idea. I didn't play the other
Me
games.
too.
I was
I
just like,
did.
oh no, a man,
Yeah, I was
a
like,
white
I.
man at the computer.
That's why I was like, the ending. I was like, oh, it's okay. That's over. I guess. I'm like, I have no idea what that was, but sure.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, it's a good action movie to play through.
Yeah, it's very. It's solid. I would still say I would agree with people that it's probably one of the strongest ones they've done, one of the best campaigns they've done. But if you're expecting it to be like groundbreaking story, wall breaking thing, like this isn't it. And I don't think Call of Duty needs to be that. People are fine with it being the action flick. There's a place for that in the overall scope of games. Like, not everything needs to be breaking the mold, pushing to be the top thing. Like, it's gonna be top seller no matter what.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you do wonder like how many people like again. All my achievements were diamond achievements as I was playing the campaign. Like no, it was like 0.11% of people have unlocked it, and you know how many people play the campaign. We know it's not the most popular mode, but how do you justify pouring resources and time and effort into a mode that such a small percentage of your players are playing? But do they make up the money in other regards? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Which, like I said last time, like they've tried that before. It was Black Ops 3, I think, or Black Ops 4. They just skipped the campaign. Like they didn't bother with it. Multiplayer only. They had a couple like, because that's the one they had. It was kind of more hero based, where you picked a character that had abilities and like an ultimate ability, and they had just kind of like training missions based off of that you went to instead. And that was the story. Like there wasn't any nothing there.
Yeah, nah, we'll see. I love a campaign. Like that's kind of what gets me into the game. I have always every Call of Duty I bought hopped into the campaign first. That's just what I'm into, and then I jump into other modes. But I don't think you're doing them. I like it. This is a great step up. At the end of the day, I think this is an improvement on Modern Warfare 3 at least, and they had a longer dev cycle, so we'll see if that is the reason and what they do with that.
That's
But
yeah.
hopefully we get
Hopefully we get what?
yeah.
Hopefully we get what, Kyle?
Oh, hopefully we get more. I hope they don't abandon it. I don't think they will, but
It'll be interesting next year because already this week and I think last week rumors started coming up about 2025's Call of Duty already. I'm like, I wonder if we'll be able to tell that it's back to the 3 year cycle next year. Like, what's missing, if there's cuts somewhere, if stuff's not as solid and nailed down as this one was. Because yeah, God, I wish they had an extra year for all these. Because there's a difference made, and it's Diamonds of Duty, Assassin's Creed, same thing. Give it a couple extra years, like people love it. That's let the
it's
teams
okay to
cook.
go. Yeah, it's like it's okay to go away and be missed. I think that's with. I mean, this is a bigger discussion, but with all these games that have jumped into an annual release, it's just it only makes sense for sports games, and you should just make it a DLC pack. Like that's like that's what's so funny about it. But yeah, we'll see. I don't even know what would it be. Is it Modern Warfare again? Is that the team for the next COD? Like, what is the 3 year cycle? I don't really remember.
I think next would be Sledgehammer, right? Because in Modern Warfare 3 was Treyarch. Now, or no, Modern Warfare 3
No,
was
this is
Infinity Ward. This is Treyarch, and now Sledgehammer. Which I think I
what's
saw something that it's possibly like an Advanced Warfare 2.
that'd be cool. I'd be down. You mean Titanfall 2, basically?
Titanfall Titanfall
Give me
3.
some give me some jump packs and everything. God. If only we got Titanfall 3. If only. Yeah, we'll see. I hope they give them time. I hope it's good. I hope they realize what they need to hit on it. I don't think we need a Call of Duty every single year.
No. Could you imagine
I
if
would
they
love
just skipped a year and then came back like guns blazing? Let people like wait it out
I
for a
mean,
while.
I think if you focus on Warzone, I think that should be their fourth year. You have just but that's not how they're doing it. That's like halfway through the year they're having a Warzone refresh to get you to the next Call of Duty later in the year. But have a 4 year cycle with one off year that is focused only on the multiplayer and the Warzone, and you can do Call of Duty League if that's whatever that is. Like, just lean into that and just we all know it's an off year because teams are working. And then if you get 3 years in a row of a solid Call of Duty, I think that would make sense. But we will see.
Wishful
Maybe Game
thinking.
Awards. Way too early prediction.
Game Awards for what? The
To
Warzone?
see the next COD.
Oh God. No, I think duty's usually a May announcement.
Yeah.
Because there's always like when school was ending for us here.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, yeah, it's definitely not next month.
Wait, which again, that speaking of that, next year should be the first one on Nintendo platform
Oh,
with that deal. So that'll too. That's a whole other wrench in what that turns out to be. Because I don't even think they
that's
can go
crazy.
with oh, what was the one that came out on Xbox One launch? Because that one too, it was on Xbox One and 360, but the 360 one had the campaign removed because it was too much. And I don't think they can do stuff like that because it has to be like equal parity between the platforms for a Nintendo.
Oh yeah, no, it has to be. But I don't know. I think the way Xbox has built their ecosystem, I don't think that's that crazy. But of course, it's Call of Duty. It's not an Xbox game, so to speak, right? And this one has
Mm-hmm.
already been in development. But I mean, at bare minimum, cloud, a lesser version, but Switch 2, we don't know what that looks like at all. And they have these deals lined up, and they've already been putting AAA games on cloud for that you can play through the cloud through Switch. So you have to imagine that's what they're aiming for. I bet Nintendo is kicking themselves for not having a stronger console to begin with when it took off because not really, they don't really kick themselves at all. They're probably happy with everything. But if it was stronger, you're telling me we could have already been getting some of these third party games on Switch, handheld, the success of Steam Deck. I just think it's a necessity at this point to run certain things if you're going to have that game on there. Got to be up to a certain standard. It makes me more hyped for a Nintendo Switch too, at least to see and hear what it is, because this thing's got to run Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's and we still know nothing. I
No,
I don't know if you've seen. I had a good chuckle. Let me pull it up here. Platonic, a bunch of X Rare people. They made Ukulele 3D platformer. They're doing the remaster of it for next gen, and this week they announced that it's coming to console because initially it was just a PC release. So they announced it as PC will be released on PS5, Xbox Series, and Nintendo with eye emoji. I'm like, you sneaky people, you could have just told us. You could have been the ones. And everyone's like, Nintendo what? Platonic, Nintendo what?
I missed that. That's great. That's great. That's amazing.
It's acknowledgement of the thing we all know. It's just Nintendo doesn't want us to know.
Yeah. Game Awards, baby. That's why those tickets are so expensive. Jeff got the
Oh,
Nintendo Switch
God.
reveal.
He had to pay for the reveal to be there, and that's why.
Yep. No, we all had to pay for it.
Gross. It's weird. Again, when does this get announced at this point? Like, random thing in November? Is it Game Awards? Or are we just gonna wake up on a February 2nd and hey, here's Nintendo Switch 2, it's out next month? Like
I
I'm
think
so
that's the most
lost.
likely thing. I think it's a fall, late summer release at this point, and it makes sense to have it in spring. Here's the trailer. Random Tuesday, random Monday, Tuesday. We will be doing a show at 6 a.m. Pacific time, and then it will be the Switch reveal, of course. And we will be talking about the Switch successor as opposed to everything they say. We're like, and we will not have any news about the Switch successor. Stop
Yeah.
assuming.
It's just gonna be Nintendo eye emoji till that happens.
Yep, which is fair.
I want
That'll be a
I want the
oh,
reveal to also have the Hollow Knight reveal at the same thing and just the internet on fire.
that's how it starts.
God. It's an
We all know it's the
exclusive.
Switch. Yeah, we all know the Switch 2 is coming. I think we are talking about this. But before we get to that, Hollow Knight 2 is out right now.
Bam.
Just to blow it up.
Uh
Yeah, well,
the other thing that's out right now that we've been playing, Kyle, Dragon Age is here, baby.
yeah.
I maybe have 4 hours into it, and I am
No, that's fair.
so far behind. It's been. I'm surprised. Before we get into it, that it's been. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised anymore, but it's been like controversy city around this game, and I don't get it. Like it's people want to hate on specific things to hate on things and get views online. I will say if you are hardcore Dragon Age person, you want a hardcore RPG expecting this to be like deep Baldur's Gate 3 levels of things, this probably isn't it. This feels, and I don't mean this in a bad way because I'm perfectly okay with it, but it reminds me of like it's like Saturday morning cartoon RPG. Like it's very to the point on things, very whimsical and quippy, and very light-hearted and just light across the board. RPG elements are light across the board. Our armor upgrades and weapons are seem very light across the board. It's got kind of the Destiny UI HUD for armor and stuff, and you're not really going in depth on things, and you don't really have upgrade paths for that, and very easy to take in. I will say, it's not gonna be a 100-hour long journey to get into the game.
No, definitely not. No. Yeah, I agree with that. There are moments where it does feel a little lacking in. Well, I'm about almost 10 hours in about with that. I think I counted up my hours. And it definitely has some pacing issues at the beginning. It I just also don't care about the boss, like the big bad, because you have these elven gods that got released, and I'm just like, all right, now let me go do some companion quests. Why they are going to blight the whole world and destroy everything? I'm gonna go get some coffee with Lucanus real quick. Like, so
Get coffee.
I think it's kind of hard to like care about that. For me, this definitely early on is like, okay, this is definitely about your relationship with the characters and their story and the story of Rook, as opposed to how am I going to deal with this story, right? How am I going to go through and make my choices? It's like, no, you know, you can be a little angrier, but I don't feel like I'm pissing people off, or I even have the ability to piss people off to the point where they're not going to be my friends anymore, like in Baldur's Gate 3, which is just not a fair comparison at all. They're totally different intentions behind each game. This is definitely an action RPG, not a, a narrative RPG so much. But every other review I've listened to says it's about 9 to 10 hours to get really into it. It's a little slow at the beginning. So I'm aware of that. And it does definitely feels that way at times, but it hasn't hindered my experience at all. This is my first Dragon Age and I'm having a great time with it. It's one of the combat, once you get the hang of it and you kind of, I thought it was wanting me to be a lot faster than it needs to be, but at the same time, I need to be a lot slower. And once that kind of clicked, I started getting into the flow of it, using the different skills and abilities that your party has, seeing how they match up together. That clicked in the last couple streams I've been doing. So now I'm like, I feel like I'm at that corner where it starts to get going once I commit to some main quest, but I just keep doing all the side quests. I'm having fun. It's fun to explore. I think they did good in the world design where for me I'm enjoying the exploration part of it. I am going around and collecting or just checking every little corner. Like a lot of people have already said, the puzzles are pretty straightforward so far. It's not hard to look at a door and be like, "Oh, all right, this is what I need to do. Let me there's a thing right behind me. That was there's the other one." I'm not like, "Shit, what am I trying to do?" Uh which again is fine. I don't want to get stuck with puzzles all the time. So I kind of like how linear it does feel at times as opposed to this sprawling open world. Now, here's everything, go. I got burnt out of that a lot. So this being a little more linear and still having some choice behind it, having some open world elements, I've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, with that, with the puzzle thing, a thing I really appreciated with it, um, I believe it's in the crossroads. It's kind of like not your main base, but like where you kind of fast travel to your quest areas where you need to branch out to. There was some doors there that I was like, I can't immediately tell what I'm supposed to be doing with these. And I opened up my map, and when I hovered over it, straight up was like, "Hey, you'll find out about this later on in the story. Come back." Like it, not gonna make you sit there and mess around for 20, 30 minutes trying to figure out something you can't. Which quality of life, awesome, love that. I'm okay with it being linear to a point, and it's got the God of War. Oh, there's two stones here. That means we need to find two beams immediately as I walk into a new zone, telling me what to do type thing. So it's got like the most extreme on both sides, but whatever.
Yeah.
What are you dwarf warrior doing? Are you playing on Xbox?
Yeah, I'm on Xbox Series X.
Okay.
Haven't tried Series S. I do plan on playing on there just a little bit just to see how that is, but that might be like a different save, honestly, because I think I'm committing to streaming this fully. It,
Oh,
that means I don't have to figure out another game to stream, and then I don't have to be taken from this. So I probably will just do this all on stream. So we'll see.
nice. Oh, I'm happy to hear that you thought that it was with combat that you need to slow down with it, because I've been experiencing that, especially today. The little bit I've had, a couple of the boss fights I got into, thinking like you said, trying to be too fast with dodges and moving around too much, and it's got me taking more damage than I probably should be. But knowing that it's kind of a thing you need to slow down on. Um,
Yeah, and then I was listening to the Besties podcast, and they talked about this, and they put it into words that I really like. So I forget who said it, but um, they kind of discuss how the your companions too, they're not really like, you're not commanding them to go attack. You can, but that you don't really need to. It's more about using them as, I think they called it like satellites. So you just, when they're loaded up and ready to use their combos to either buff yourself, to heal yourself, or to combo together, which is really fun. Uh, that's what you use them for. Other than that, the enemies do almost always focus on you. They do kind of pull away and will look at your companions, but oftentimes I'm like, why are they all like running after me? And it's like, oh, that's not what your that's not what your companions are there for. They're not there to take the damage. And hearing that made it, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely how I felt to a degree. Um, I will say it's kind of hard to see some of the parry animations at times for me, but once you kind of sit and wait for them, again, slowing down the combat, then it became a little more straightforward. It's like, oh, I don't need to like, yeah, dodge, dodge, dip, duck, dive all the way out of the way. It's like, just sit for a minute, wait for that icon to appear. Now time it, boom, parry him, then it staggers them, and then you're good to go. At least as a warrior, because that's what I'm playing.
yeah. To that, yeah, I don't even think your companions have health bars, do they? Like
No,
they're just there.
yeah, they're just there, which I kind of like it. I mean, it does definitely simplifies the combat. I don't have to worry about controlling everyone. They just do their thing, and I could use them how I want. So, like, the ultimate ability you get at least is so powerful, which I really do like, because it's just, if you have that loaded up at the beginning of a battle, you just walk in, click those thumbsticks down, and that battle's most likely done right away. And I I like that.
Do I wonder if there's other ultimates to get, because me, I rolled.
There are.
Are there? Okay, cool. Because yeah, I'm a Elven mage, which, to your point on the parry thing, is almost impossible for me because there's lightning bolts going out and ice effects going out and poison and fire, and it's a cluster to understand what's happening in a fight. But no matter what, because I have the mage has a basic staff for kind of long ranged, and then if you hit down on the D pad, it you get kind of a shorter spell blade with an orb, like the elemental orb that follows you, and that's for like up close slashes and like stuns and stuff like that. And for both
Okay.
of those, the ultimate is exactly the same thing. So I was like, that's kind of. I feel like the two different combat styles should have two different ultimates.
Oh, I see what you're saying, but I also understand like it's to your character though.
Mm-hmm.
But there is like, you can change what skills you have equipped, because you can have three at a time equipped. Uh, you can have, or abilities specifically. I you can change the ultimate, but and I think you get three more based on, if I'm remembering the overlay correctly.
Okay, cool. That's good to
But
hear.
I think that's tied to, like, if you go to the skill tree, it has like the three, has like a triangle, almost the three different options that branch out. The three specializations, that's what they're called. So I think that's where their ultimate comes to play, like the extra one, not extra, but
Okay,
the other one.
good to hear.
But
Good
yeah,
to
but
hear.
yeah, it was warrior. You get sword and shield, and your alternate is a double-handed weapon, which is a lot slower and such. And I just haven't. I personally haven't been able to use that to effectiveness, but I just like being a little quicker anyways. I'm down to dodge and block more, but you can still block and parry with the double-handed. It's just it's so slow. I haven't been able to use it to my liking, like to get to a point where I'm enjoying it and not like, this
Hmm.
sucks.
Yeah, I wish there was. I wish there was more combat, because it's very like walk down a tunnel, essentially, walk down a hallway, and then you enter an obvious combat zone where they'll throw enemies at you. And then it's more hallways, more hallways, more hallways, combat. I wish it was kind of more integrated between each other, which I get, like, it's not really set up for that, being three people on your party. Like, you got to make that work in confined spaces. But I wish there was just more combat opportunities because it will be like, oh, cool, I kind of understood dodging this thing. I kind of understood synergizing party members' attacks with this. And then it will maybe like 10, 15 minutes to get a chance to try it out again, whether it be from dialogue stuff, story stuff. Especially like you said in the early game, it is very story heavy. And there's times I'm just putting my controller down for a while, like cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. Um, a thing with
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Like, it's funny. It's like, yeah, I want more consistent combat. Like, let me actually get to the fight. You know, I feel like by the time it ends, it's like, all right. I'm like, wait, we just got going. You know, I just started
yeah,
understanding shit.
it's very
So we'll
fast.
see. It'll be interesting to see because, like, yeah, I'm double your length in play easily. So it'd be interesting to see if eventually it does get a little more intense with the combat, a little more full.
And you're a bird, playing as a bird. Uh,
It's my favorite thing. It's so good. There's a mask that you can buy that just changes your appearance when because my faction is the Antivin Crows. That's the one I jumped into. It's just what I liked. I got an extra health potion, which is really why I chose it. I like that. What background did you go to or
uh,
faction?
I went with Veil Jumper, I
Okay,
believe. The elves, they're kind of exploring like elven history and looking for artifacts, archaeologists essentially. Which I'm
yeah.
curious, how much of that actually changes things? Because the way they have it set up, after you have kind of your first big encounter and you go out into the world for the first time,
Mhm.
immediately it kind of introduced me to two people from my faction that were doing things, and it felt like if you like with your assassin thing, like, are you introduced to two people in the same way? Are you given the same kind of two talents to go to after that? Because I met them, and then I went to a blighted village, which is at the start of your stream I have pulled up, and then from there I got to go to Docktown, and then I forget the other one. I think the other one's something with the dragon. I haven't
It's
done
on
it
the
yet.
stream right now. What you're referencing. So for me, it was go to Docktown or Treviso.
Okay, so yeah, they're the same then.
Yeah, which those were like into the crossroad. That was like the main story quest and such. So I am intrigued by what it changes and such because like we met the Grey Ward. I met a Grey Warden guy and he was pissed at me right from the beginning, basically. So I wonder if like I was part of the Grey Wardens, would he have still been pissed? But I think every single faction you chose, like the little backstory they have for your character, it says like I didn't read the Grey Warden ones, but all of them like you did something to help people, and now you're no longer like a part of that fully. They kind of kick you out in
Mm-hmm.
a way because you kind of not betrayed them, but like didn't listen or something. It's like a soft little look. They're not pissed at you, but they don't like you as much anymore. So you're not really. That explains why you're not actively working with them anymore. You're now doing stuff with Varric and whatnot. Uh, so yeah, I wonder how in depth that is. You know, I think it feels more just like a slight boost to the reputation gain, so you can increase the store market thing up. Your like yeah market level or whatnot. You can upgrade your shops and whatnot, which is odd.
Which I'll say I have not met a Grey Warden that was pissed off at me yet, so that may be. Did you meet Morrigan, the Crow lady?
Yeah, she came down.
Okay, you met
Yeah,
her. Okay. So yeah, it'll be interesting as we go through comparing like what's because yeah, it's like I said that first introduction to my faction. I was like, okay, so this is kind of like a branching out thing. How deep that goes. Um,
y-
you made the Baldur's Gate comparison. That's not the same. I would almost compare this more to with the way dialogue and story progresses. With no matter what you have pick, it just keeps going. It almost feels like Starfield. We're like, oh, this person disliked that, but there's really no ramifications from it. Like you just go on like nothing happened, And that was the first thing that came to my mind when that started happening. I'm like, so I can really just be a dick to everyone and not suffer really consequences, it seems, so far.
Yeah, so far, I mean, and yeah, definitely at the beginning, that's what it feels like. It's like I could be. It's just how are you going to respond? Are you a little more straightforward, Kurt? Are you more funny? And that's it. It's not like you're agreeing or disagreeing and changing the outcome so far.
Mhm. I do. You were mentioning the kind of backstory things you pick. I wish more games did that moving forward because it sets you up. You can, I think it's optional entirely, but you can go in your character creator and it kind of brings up issues from the previous games and gives you kind of two choices of how you want that to play out for your backstory and affect dialogue, I'm sure later. But it's, I don't say easy, but it's a smart way of like, hey, do I need to play these games before trying to see all you see online? No, you don't. We're gonna let you make those choices and then instantly kind of see the effects of them in this title. You don't get the major I did it myself 40 hours, 50 hours in the old games type thing, but you still feel like you were a part of those experiences, which I really appreciated because I honestly I couldn't think of any other game that really brought that as a choice that I've played recently, so that was nice to see for me.
Oh yeah, like, and I know in the past you've been able to import your save, and that's how it kind of had the starting point for the game to go forward. But they don't have that in this. But yeah, you can go back and customize what the Inquisition was closer. I mean, make it closer to what it was in your playthrough if you played through that game. And you could fully edit the Inquisitor, I think, or to some degree. So I didn't really touch that. I saw it and I was like, cool. I didn't play it, so I don't care. But again, having that option is yeah, it's unique, and I think that's like this game just it's doing something different than a lot of the games I've played recently. Uh, and the combat is fluid. It also runs very well. It looks really good at times, and then at other times I'm like, this looks a little weird. But I think I maybe just need to close the game and reset it because I'm just using quick resume. But it, there's times I'm like, but some of the vistas I'm like, this looks real nice.
Yeah, I've stopped and used photo mode, which I've said I don't do too often with games to get screenshots. Like it's the vistas and the skyboxes especially are it almost made me think of the recent Fable trailers to a point, like the foliage and stuff. Like, not to that level, but it looks like the steps there where you start realizing where games are going graphically.
Yeah. Now on the stream real quick, it was showing kind of how a combo works with your party members. Have you been like doing that a ton? How are you liking that like that system so far? Kind of the you apply uh a status effect, either weakened, sundered, overwhelmed, and probably some other ones that I haven't touched with my character. And then you can have yourself or a party member detonate that, and then it'll kind of blow up and cause some issues there.
I've used it a bit. I'm so early now though, where it's only I have 3 active party members. This guy on yours I have not seen, so that I'm curious about. I have someone entirely different that does his roles based off of the Spite's Reach thing. Um, but yeah, I only really have one setup for that of 2 people can interact where you set up a charge and then you can like explode it or implode it or something for bonus damage. I use it when it's available because bosses it nukes them real fast, but I haven't really had time to like dive in and like get new abilities for them and try those out.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah,
Yeah,
you got this Lucanus guy. I'm interested now because I have not seen him.
yeah, yeah. I think it's one of the main quests. I think after when you go to Treviso, that's where you
Okay.
get him. You go
Um,
help them out.
how do you feel with like inventory and armor and weapons and stuff? Because that I'm still learning and it feels very kind of thrown together. There's been times where you get your armor and you can upgrade it, which it doesn't really explain to you, but you can see 2 locks of like other abilities they give you. And at first time I went to a merchant, I think it had the option to upgrade for golden resources. But then at one point I opened a chest, which I guess had the exact same item in the chest that I had equipped, and that automatically upgraded it by itself. And I was like, what? Like the pieces of the gear system are really kind of falling apart for me early game, trying to realize like what I need to be looking for. Is it worth actually upgrading? Am I going to find this stuff naturally?
Yeah. So yeah, it does automatically upgrade the same thing if you find it, which I do. I like that. I'm like, cool. Like that's a instead of like, oh, you already have it, so I'm not gonna equip it. It's just gonna go to junk anyways. It's like, oh no, let's just bump up the thing you already have equipped that you're using up a tier, which I do like. I think that's cool. And again, yeah, it is. Overall, I think the RPG, the managing your inventory is light. You don't really need to. Um, it really is more of like how it really feels like it's trying to and it will be more intertwined with how your playstyle is. So if your abilities are applying some bleeding damage, yeah, put that ring on that gives you plus 20% bleeding damage. But if your party members are different because of a story quest or whatnot, uh, if they're not, no one's applying bleeding, then why would you have that ring equipped? But you can have the one that helps them out. I feel like that's kind of what the management of it is. So you don't have to really worry too much about the getting in depth on the items, which I'm fine with. Uh, Upgrading them, I think you can upgrade them through the Crossroad merchant guy, right in the center of, or not at the lighthouse.
Hmm.
The lighthouse has a little upgrade thing, and you can upgrade him through materials you find in the world and raise his tier up, so you can then increase your items and such. And I've been doing that, and then I find better stuff and I equip that, and then I go back and upgrade that. And I haven't hit a point where I'm not able to upgrade stuff because I like wasted an upgrade already. So I think it's just one of those things where I don't know. I don't think you just have to get lost and like really have to think about it, which I'm okay with. Like, uh, yeah, I, the big, the green number, the numbers go up, cool. They don't go up, okay, but they have different statuses, and I have found myself being like, oh, that actually is going to be better for this ability with this person as opposed to maybe my current setup with my party. So I think that's how it's going to have some of the choices lie within that. That was a weird sentence at the end.
It makes sense. No, that's oh my god. Um, no, with me being a mage, that's a big thing with the gear I found is like you said, the number increases are very minuscule for me, but it's more elemental based. Like, do you want this staff in a fire form, or do you want it in an ice form? You want it in a necrotic form or a lightning form? So it's more based off of what kind of flavor you want for damage today. But yeah, I'm cool with. I also really appreciate transmog is available out the gate. If you are someone who
Yeah.
likes to dress your character up, I unlocked, and there is pieces of gear that's just transmog pieces. I got a robe that wasn't actually equipable, but it was just for looks that you can equip later, which I is cool. It's a different sort of drop to look out for. Rare experience.
Yeah, same thing. You get to a point where you can find a bunch of stores that sell stuff like that, sell mementos which upgrade your lighthouse crafts blacksmith person. I forget what it's called. Uh, but yeah, you could buy those in the store. And that's how I got my crow outfit. So now I'm a crow. Just it's so funny. It's just a crow mask, and it's really. I had a quest with Balara, her quest line, and she kind of tells you an emotional little thing, and it's nice. And then it cuts to my character just beady eyed crow staring at her like, I hear you. I love he doesn't say I love you, but it's just like, I feel so bad for you. I'm sorry this happened. It's just a
Caca.
bird face. It's just real. It fits my humor perfectly. I'm very, very much enjoying that. But that's just a transmog piece as well. So
I I found my equivalent of that. Then it's nowhere near as cool. Mine for the veil jumpers, it's like a winged like Valkyrie crown almost, and it was from like the faction thing. So yeah, that's probably my equivalent. I don't get a fun
yeah.
animal mask.
Yeah, I'm just that makes me hopeful that we find some other really fun, cool mask. Like it's just goofy no matter how you look at it. Like
Hmm.
it's not cool. It's just like I'm a crow now. The cutscenes are so funny. So funny with it as a crow mask.
Um, I will say I messaged you on Discord the first night I jumped into this. Um, I crossed over the line. I bought a copy of Dragon Age Veilguard on PS5, which I usually don't do because it's mostly an exclusive machine. Um, early on in the game, I would honestly say in the first hour, I had 2 different hard crashes.
Oh,
Which that's I'd message you if you had any issues, and I thought that was really weird. And it wasn't even like at the same point; they were clearly at different parts of what was happening. So I don't know what if it installed weird, but that did happen for me. I haven't seen anyone else mention it though, so it's my luck of the week.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, across the board, I think it sounds like even on PC especially too, that Dragon Age the Veilguard has been pretty bug free, had a pretty stable release. I mean, the PC one being pretty stable is like the most impressive because usually that always has some issues
Yeah,
with it. But you could tell they definitely put some time and effort into making sure it was a smooth release for sure.
like I said, it sucks because I know a lot of people. This isn't what they were expecting. I have a friend here who is the very he was in our fantasy critic this year. He's wants the deep RPGs, wants the deep story things, and he was talking to me, and we were texting back and forth on launch day. He's like, I don't think I'm gonna jump into this. Like, this doesn't seem like it's for me. It seems like a different audience, different generation. And yeah, after I this morning I texted was like, this definitely like you dodged a bullet because you would have been wasting money. Like you would not have found enjoyment of this. But like I said, it's not a bad thing necessarily. Like, yeah, it sucks if you're a longtime fan of the series to like take sort of a drastic turn like this. But like I said, it's not every game needs to be some emotional gut wrench like big epic tale. And I've seen people complain about that online about this. And I'm like, it doesn't need to be God of War. It doesn't need to be Last of Us. There's space. There's a community. There's people who want a different experience that, and that's okay. Like games are subjective and they can be different things to people. Like having a lighter RPG system, not having to dump an hour at a time going through inventory, like awesome, cool. That doesn't mean it's a bad game though. That it's not as deep as that.
Yeah,
And
I agree. The tone overall I think is fine. It's just I feel like it just hasn't gotten started. You know, like I feel like we're still like setting the ground up, and I wonder if this is. I mean, it's what 10 plus years since the last one. I do wonder if internally, you know, if they view this as a soft reboot, a starting off point for the next couple. Right? I haven't seen anything hint that like how it ends. You know, I've remained spoiler free on that, but I do wonder. You know, and I hope maybe this is like I don't know. It'd be nice to get a trilogy of games like this that feed off each other, and like it'd be cool if the next one does you can import your save, right, to have the story pick up right off, and maybe then it's not as then they could get a little more in depth. Maybe this is
mhm.
just laying the groundwork for this new era of Dragon Age, but that's yet to be seen on my side.
To that point, being so long, I saw a tweet actually today I saved um, from the homie Gene Park on Twitter.
Yeah.
Dragon Age initially, which I forgot, I remember hearing about this when it was called Dreadwolf still. Initially was developed with multiplayer bones in it. It's why Skill Up, another YouTube channel, described the level design as Overwatch style maps, which, like we said, the hallways to a battle zone, hallways to a battle zone. Simple puzzles resemble Destiny and uh, similar to Godfall, and even Avengers to a point. Um, he
Oh my
says,
god, that's what's throwing the shield like for a warrior feels like. I feel like Captain America,
yeah,
that they feel very similar. Sorry.
he says we always ask, what if Avengers or Suicide Squad was single player? Veilguard is a fascinating experiment on how to reverse engineer live service projects once they realized it wasn't worth the risk. And he thinks it was admirable. Which, yeah, looking at that, you see like all those different parts. Like I said at the start with the, I call it Destiny UI because it's the first one I remember where it's just very blocky and here's rows of blocks and what you're moving out, and even Hogwarts Legacy, which I enjoyed last year. Like it's the same kind of setup with menu management and inventory, and the combat to that is almost 1-to-1 for me for Hogwarts Legacy. Like it's so many different kind of piecemeal pieces of other games of recent times that yeah, what was this initially when it was a multiplayer thing?
That's really interesting. Yeah. I'm happy that it's not a multiplayer game because that would have been not as fun, I think. So
uh,
that gives me hope that, like, you know, I think this is finding success. I think will go down as like a successful game overall. Uh, so I hope, yeah, that means they can do the things and expand upon the aspects of this game that make it good and not be shoehorned by whatever was made before, right? Because
Mhm.
if you started, there definitely were decisions then that were made and followed through on because of the work already done of it. You know, like you can't just throw everything away. That the bones are there. You can just build the meat around it, right? To a degree.
Mhm.
My limited scope of knowledge there.
We're
But yeah,
expert game
that
designers.
experts. Nope. But
Uh,
yeah, have you been having any issues with the art style or so far? Or yeah, go for it. Yeah.
no, like I said, I've had no issues. I had one weird graphic hiccup when you're facing Solus at the beginning, with like his ethereal beams around, kind of like became solid red and blue lines at the bottom of the screen. But like I've
Hmm.
art style, it's solid. It's high fantasy. It's what you expect from this. I don't think it's necessarily going above and beyond what you would expect from a fantasy thing. Like your sort of key features are all here. You got Docktown, watery, uh, Riften from Skyrim type place. You have Elven Forest. You have spooky mage, not necessarily a school, but the um, God, what's the home base called? You just said it.
The
Uh,
lighthouse.
Lighthouse. Kind of spooky magical thing floating in the sky. Like it's got the key points there, and it nails them. But yeah, it's not. I don't look at the towns like this is peak game level design. Looks super pretty, looks beautiful, but it's not pushing things for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've been seeing people say it's like cartoony and Fortnite nighty and such, and one character does kind of invoke that a little bit to me, but like
Oh,
we don't need, we do not need like super high realism in games. I think it's okay to have more stylized stuff.
it doesn't need to be a God of War or Last of Us. Like it's okay to be cartoony still.
Yeah, to a degree.
It's a weird thing. It's a deeper conversation probably, but like this feels like, again, no hate to the team of BioWare or whatever, because I'm enjoying my time with it so far. But it feels like a higher end double A game. And now that we've gotten away of double A's, people look at the stuff that's like this as kind of a lesser thing because it's not breaking those barriers, it's not breaking those graphical walls. But like these are some of the types of games I had the most fun with as a kid. Like if I rented this as a kid, I would be having a blast. And it's
Oh
not
yeah, no,
gonna be game of the year type thing. It's its own little project, and I'm okay with that.
you don't think it's going to be nominated?
At this point, no. With the controversy and shit around it and people complaining, no.
Yeah, I do think the controversy will keep it firmly not in game of the not win it. There's too much silly controversy around it, which is justified to some degree, and then is just searching for controversy
Rage
in
bait.
a lot of ways. Like yeah, finding certain missions that are optional and complaining about it, and just don't do it. They're not making you do anything.
Oh, I
that
know what you're
that's
talking
neither.
about.
Yeah, because they let you choose to be trans, and that's okay. That's great representation. No one's forcing you to do those missions.
There's a
Like
back button on the bottom left of the wheel. If you get to that point and you don't like it, everyone's
they're making
overlooking
me
it.
do it. I can't go back. I hate rage baiting stuff. It sucks that
I
it works. It just I hate the world we're in that regard.
I hate to say I used to watch him like weekly.
That's
Coming from
fine,
the
like right?
I it's
Please.
fine, but like now I'm like I miss so many red flags.
Yeah, but I think also it's like, oh, we trust. There's a level of trust people give, and then it's like, oh, mm, mm.
God,
Also you were lied to a degree.
lied.
Anyways, that's a whole other discussion
Yeah.
as well.
Last thing for Dragon Age, I want to shout out, and I may be in minority, but I am so hyped they have no plans for DLC for this. Like if they did, I don't think this would be a project I would be coming back to for DLC. Like I'm happy with this being its own. This is our story we wanted to tell. There's no other side things. Like everything is here that we wanted to put in. Awesome. Don't need
Yeah,
DLC and everything either.
I agree with that. I think we're seeing that DLC doesn't work either. I mean, going off of the Insomniac leaks and shit and stuff, not shit.
You say shit.
um, I can, but that's not what I wanted to. But yeah, so I'm not. I'm fine with it. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing unless it sucks if you really like the game and you want to be in the world more, but just make another character and change your choices.
There's a couple other classes for you to explore.
Exactly. Two, two more.
2 other playthroughs.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But
I'm
yeah, so
excited you're
I'm
doing it on
excited.
stream.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to keep playing it. It helps me. I mean, it keeps me streaming. But also, I am enjoying my time with it. I really am. It's fun, and I think it's light. It's light where I want it to be. Right. I think it's okay. So I think this. Yeah. That's all we need to say about it.
Dragon Age, good video game.
Good. Yes. Hopefully we'll have. I can't imagine being in it before next Sunday, but I hope to have a review up that week after next Sunday. That's my goal. Sometime that week. I want to. I want to get through this.
Yeah, I'm excited that I'll have more time this week. Albeit I'm on call, so I'll probably be at work nonstop. But I'm happy to have more time to actually settle in. Because yeah, I went on my break at lunch, on Thursday. Picked it up on my break, downloaded it right away. Like I was ready, and then
Just couldn't get to it.
yeah, Halloween and shout out to Halloween kids this year. Side tangent, you guys did great. I've been in my house for 4 years. I've maybe had 10 kids total. I've had probably like 40 this year. Like, it was great.
Man, that's like the opposite out here. But I also turned the porch light off and say
Boo.
no, leave me alone. I don't want to just keep getting up from the couch.
But yeah, I guess. I'm excited. I
Yeah.
get happy about it. I do my yard up every year, so it's worth it.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think if I lived in a different place, I'd see myself seeing us getting way more into it. I know my wife would love to do that stuff.
There you go. With that, you got anything else you want to promote before we get out of here?
No, I'm just gonna be playing more Dragon Age: The Veilguard on stream and on YouTube. I got 7 parts scheduled or uploaded already, so you can sit down if you're not planning on playing the game. Come watch me play it, or at least leave it open in a browser, just playing to give me my watch hours up,
Yeah.
so I can make money. But that's a long time from now. But yeah, that'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll be streaming that, so maybe a little more tonight. Not sure yet, actually. And yeah, and I think no, I won't have that up. I got a game I'm reviewing under embargo, but I don't think I'll be able to get that up by embargo date. We'll see.
Wow,
So,
wow.
Another review out.
There you go. Go check them out. I got nothing. I'm getting back in the swing of things this week. After this is done, I'm gonna go take the hottest shower in my life. If
And
you're
break your water heater.
if you're watching this live or check this out Monday before the 5th, please go out and vote. Not gonna get political. Just go out and vote. It's that
Go
time.
vote.
We could be in a drastically different world next Sunday when we get together. So go vote on Tuesday.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, I did. It's just my first time actually. I never have before, and this is my first time I went on Tuesday for early on my lunch break. So it was time. Had to get out. I live in a very bad place though, so it doesn't really matter.
Not cancel out those votes.
Yeah. Go do it.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all next Sunday. Happy gaming. Game Awards
Bye.
coming soon. Peace.
Ooh.